everyone, so today I just wanted to talk about being a little bit more prepared for going out on a winter's day. Not for a long trip, but just a simple trip going out and walking in pretty cold temperatures. Today it's not so cold, it's only -5, but it's already been around -22 here, and it does get a lot colder. So I just wanted to go through the kind of equipment that I take with me on these types of days. And first and simplest things are gloves. These are liners and they're merino wool, which keep you generally quite warm. I will keep these on by themselves when I'm just walking around, when I'm going for the walk. But once I stop and I start to cool down a bit, I will end up putting some thicker gloves on, which go over these liners. And both the liner and the main glove are made by a company called Valorette, which are really good. They work really well, and they also leave your finger and thumb tip open so that you can still use your camera properly without the glove being in the way. And the nice thing about the liners is they also have these little pads for being able to use touch screens, which really does help, so you don't have to keep taking your gloves off whenever you want to use a touch screen like your phone or something on the camera. And obviously something you should definitely have on is a beanie or some kind of warm hat, because obviously heat will go through your body and rises out of your head, so you kind of want to keep that heat in by wearing a beanie that will hold the heat in for your body and not let it escape too much. And also your hands and feet generally are the first things to start getting cold, so keeping those things warm will generally keep your body warmer for longer. So I also suggest wearing some really good boots. These are really well made, really solid, they're quite hard as well, and these are made by a company called Haglofs, which are from Sweden. They're really nicely built, they're very sturdy, and what's good about these is they come up over your ankle, which gives you a lot more stability when you're climbing up hills and mountains and going over rocks, and especially going through the snow, because you need to keep your ankles really sturdy in those kind of situations. And definitely during the winter you want to wear some woolen socks, so that's a really good thing to make sure you have on when you go out. And also I'm actually wearing right now skiing pants, which these actually come up with a strap, and they go a little bit over to your stomach, and they go over behind your back, which for your back especially gives you a little bit more of a wind barrier, which is really good when it does get windy in these situations. You need that little extra protection to keep warm. And also I'm wearing a woolen jersey, which is definitely a smart thing to have. But under that, what Norwegians call is woolen underwear. So there's basically kind of like a liner, like these gloves, which I'm wearing also on my legs, and underneath I'm wearing one here, which all of these are made with merino wool. Merino wool is a really good insulator, and also it takes a long time for it to start to smell and stuff, so you're able to go out with merino wool for a couple of days and not have to worry about that, which I think is a really good thing to have. Plus it's very good at keeping the heat in, and also when you sweat it releases the sweat out, so the sweat comes through the merino wool instead of staying in and keeping you wet. And also I'm wearing a down jacket, and generally what I'll do is when I'm on my walk I won't wear the jacket. I'll just wear what I'm wearing here. Normally I have the jersey over the straps because it just tends to keep things a little bit more warmer that way. At least that's how I've experienced it. Once I stop and I'm in a certain area for a longer period of time without walking, then I'll put the jacket on. And this jacket is also pretty windproof and quite warm, even when I've even used it in -20 and it's worked fine. But obviously if you're going to be out for much longer periods, you probably need to start thinking about thicker jackets or taking some extra clothes with you. And another thing to definitely bring is a thermos with some kind of hot beverage, cocoa, tea, coffee, whatever you prefer. But having something hot will definitely be a smart thing to have, because once your body starts getting cold, warming your body up from the inside is definitely a good thing to do. I know, but I'm trying to talk to everybody. I know you want cuddles. Yeah, I know you want cuddles. Otherwise, you're gonna end up freezing from inside, which is not a great feeling to have. So definitely have something warm to drink, and also definitely keep some water with you, especially when you have a dog. You need to be able to give your dog some water along the journey. So there's also another thing I like to have, which is actually a little sitting pad just to sit on, especially when you're wearing pants that aren't that waterproof. It'll help for if you are having to sit down for a while, to keep you that little bit more drier, and a little bit of padding as well, so it's a little bit more comfortable to sit down. So another good thing to have when it comes to footwear is having some good snowshoes, just in case there's some pretty deep snow and you don't want to have to be digging yourself out the whole time while you're trying to walk. This will definitely be a good thing to have. And if you're in quite a flat area like I am on right now, skis can be a really good thing to take with as well, just to make the journey and the trip a lot easier. Otherwise you're just going to get really tired way before you even get somewhere, and if you're trying to get to a certain destination and take some photographs, you don't want to wear yourself out before you even get there. So having the appropriate footwear definitely is a good thing to have. Another good thing I didn't say about these shoes is that there's a GPS tag in it, which means that a helicopter will be able to find you by basically finding the GPS tag within the shoes. So that's a really smart thing to have. So just in case I do get stuck somewhere, I would be able to call for an emergency, and a helicopter would be able to use their tracking system to be able to find me by finding the coding in the shoes, which is a really nice thing to know and have in the back of your mind, just in case things do go a little bit wrong. So a few simple things that I like to bring is just a basic cloth, which is your basic face cloth. But what I'll use this for is if it does start to snow a lot, or my camera semi gets wet or something, I'll use this to dry most of that water off. Or even if I really have to, because of some reason I may have forgot my other gear to protect, I'll just put this over the camera, just so that most of the snow will fall on this instead. So other things to think of, what I like to do is I'll take a bag like this, and I put my batteries for my cameras in here. And a nice thing to do, if you don't want to keep it in the bag, if you're going to go for quite a long trip and you know it's going to get really cold, instead of keeping in the bag, you'll put it inside a pocket inside your jacket, and that will keep it close to your body just to keep the batteries warm, which will mean the batteries will last a lot longer. Once you get to below -20 or more, you'll start encountering problems where the batteries will basically stop working, or even the cameras will stop working. So that's just a good thing to keep in mind. Other little things I like to keep in my bag is something like a first aid kit. This might be a little bit too big for a little trip, but it definitely has everything in it. So I have plasters, I even have antibacterial, I have scissors, there's bandages, just in case. You never know what might happen. Sometimes maybe setting up a little bit of a smaller package might be a good idea. And obviously for the dog, I have a travel bowl, which is very good to have to be able to put the water in, and I'll take some food in there. Obviously right now she thinks that she's getting something. And then I'll also carry a headlamp with me, just in case it does get dark and I can't find my way back. Especially during the winter time, there's not as much light, so you never know when you might need this. And another thing that I bring, especially for her, these are winter socks, or basically little booties as they call them, just in case it does get a little bit too cold and I notice that she is struggling on her paws. These will help to keep her a little bit warm and stop cracks and things from happening, which is a nice thing for her to have. Definitely one thing I like to have is chapstick, because when you're out in this cold, your lips do tend to get really dry and you don't want them cracking, because that's gonna get really painful. I also take matches with me, just in case. You never know if I end up getting stuck or something, and I do have some branches around. I can at least light a little fire just to keep me a bit warm for a little while. And also taking some string with, any kind of small rope or something, just in case. You never know what else you might need it for. So having things like this is very handy. And one other good thing to have is a little bit of toilet paper, because you never know when you might need that. You don't really want to go around wiping with some snow. That's just not going to be pleasant at all. There is also one really nice thing to have with, just in case you're not going to be wearing something so much waterproof that will cover your shoes. Having gaiters is definitely a really nice thing to have. So sometimes when I'm wearing some of my other outdoor pants, I will put these gaiters on, and it's really nice to have because it just basically goes on around the bottom of your shoe, and then you can wrap it around your pants, and that way you won't get any snow going into your shoes, and it will also keep your legs drier for longer, which is a really smart thing to have. So just something simple like that, having a pair of gaiters is really nice to have. So yeah, that's pretty much about it for what I take on a basic trip. There is one more thing that I will take, which I haven't taken with me now because I'm not going on a long trip right now, but I will have a sandwich or some kind of energy bar or even a protein bar, just to make sure that I'm getting some energy. Sometimes I'll take a drink that has some sugar or something else in it, because the winter does take a lot out of you, and especially when you're going on a long trip, you want to just make sure you keep your energy levels up, because if you don't do anything like that, and by the time you get home your body's just going to crash and you're not going to have much more energy to do anything. So there's one more thing I wanted to talk about, and this is mainly for my subscribers. There's a few of you that have been talking or asking about why I've been changing camera brands so often within the last 2 years. I'm just curious as to if you guys want me to make a video discussing those things, but generally I think it's going to be quite a boring video. But if you want to know why I have changed camera brands so often, leave a comment below and I'll think about making a video talking about that. But otherwise, I thought I would just get into a quick video talking about some of the things I take with, making sure you're a bit more safe during winter, because yeah, when it gets cold you need to keep yourself warm. So I thought I'd do a quick video on that. If this information was at all helpful, if there's anything that you think I may have missed or anything else that you want to know, leave a comment below and let me know about it. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.